Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Maureen, and today I'm sharing a tutorial on how to do the burrito method on a sleeveless bodice. So recently I made Butterick pattern 6939, which is a vintage pattern. And if you know anything about vintage patterns, some of their instructions are a little complicated, and I decomplicated the process, if that's a word, and actually did the burrito method on this bodice. And this method, because it's a sleeveless shirt, it worked perfectly for this. So the tutorial that I'm going to share with you is based off of that pattern. However, this actually works for any bodice that is sleeveless with a facing and has either a closed front bodice or a button bodice. So that means that if you don't have buttons on your shirt and you still have a sleeveless bodice that has a facing, you can actually use the same exact tutorial. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and share this with you guys, and I'll see you at the end. Okay, so first we are going to put right sides together with the front and the back. And then you have notches up here. We're going to match those notches, and then we're going to sew this at our machine at 5/8. So I did take a quick detour from the pattern instructions, and I actually used the burrito method to complete the bodice. So I made a quick little tutorial inside of this video to show you guys exactly how I did that in case you're following along and making your own play suit. Pin and sew the shoulders of the facing the same way that you did the bodice pieces. Okay, so you should have pressed those seams open. And so now we're going to put our facing and our bodice right sides together. So right now the main focus is just the button placket and the neck edges, and that's what we are going to pin and sew together at our sewing machine. Be sure to leave the bottom of the button placket open, so we won't be sewing that. We're literally going up the sides and around those curves, exactly where you see that I'm putting the wonder clips at. Okay, so now we're just going to trim this down, making sure not to cut into that seam allowance. When we get to the corner, go ahead and cut that corner like that, and then cut all around these edges here. Okay, and then on the curves, you can put little notches that not clipping through the seam allowance. So don't clip through your thread. This just makes it easier for this neck edge to lay down better. So now I'm going to turn everything right side out. And you'll notice that it becomes almost a perfect neckline. Definitely recommend using one of these to just poke it out. And then you're going to press this at your iron and do an understitching as well. Okay, so I am going to stitch the facing starting at the center back and literally having my needle 1/8 from this seam line here. I'm going to put my presser foot down. I'm going to get as close to this placket corner as I can, but there's no way I'm going to be able to get all the way to this corner. So you just get as far as you can, and then you just move to the other side. Now I'm just going to switch my needle placement again. All right, so now your the insides of your garment are finished and clean, but obviously we still have the armholes and the sides to connect. So open out your garment one more time. So yes, go ahead and open out your garment. And then for the burrito method, we are literally going to fold this side up as best we can, like this, and take this armhole and this armhole and match them around. And just make sure that everything that isn't supposed to be in the way is out of the way. All right, we are going to take our pins and pin this around. Oop. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna clip in the notches. I'm gonna trim it down. I'm just going to put a couple of notches in there since this is a curve and we want it to be comfortable on our armhole when we're wearing it. I also want it to lay really flat as well after we're done pressing it. So that is why we clip in the curves. Okay, so now you're going to bring this side out. And you've got one side absolutely complete. Okay. So guess what? We're going to do the same thing on this unfinished side. We're going to roll it up. Matching the seams and the edges, making sure that the rest of the blouse or bodice is out of the way. We do the same exact thing. We're going to stitch it at 5/8 and come back to our cutting table and repeat those same steps again. All right, so I've trimmed it, clipped in the notches like we did before, and now I'm gonna do the same little magic trick. And we're gonna pull through the other side. And now we have completed armholes on both sides. I'm gonna give this a good press at the iron, and then I'm also going to understitch probably till about here because it gets very narrow, and I'm gonna understitch here as well and do that on both sides to complete this finished look. Similar to how we did the neck hole facing, go ahead and stitch down the armhole facings the same exact way. Okay, so we've understitched our armholes. So now what we are going to do is put our facings and our sides together just like this. Okay, and we're going to stitch it down at 5/8. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side of this bodice here. Matching up the facings, right sides together. And pin down the side. So we're going to take this to our machine and sew it at 5/8. And sew this at 5/8, and then that will give our bodice a really clean finish. All right, so I have pressed the sides, and just so y'all know what they look like, I also finished them as well. And I used a pressing hem to press that out towards the back of the bodice. And now I have a completed bodice for my play suit. Now don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you want to see more tutorials like this, definitely let me know in the comments. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.